Welcome to the Dragonhood.
What's up, everybody? My name is Brandon, and my character's name is Rain. This is my backstory. It's pretty long. I wrote it all out. It's pretty detailed. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it instead of trying to remember. I don't want to forget anything. Anyway, so like I said, my character's name is Rain. His mother, she was from the Elvish kingdom, and she was next in line to become queen. She was the only offspring of the king, and the Elvish law of the kingdom is for all rulers from the monarchy bloodline, they must only have children and be with other elves, so their DNA won't be mixed. They try to stay as pure as possible. My mom, she ended up falling in love with a human when she was only 16 years old, and she gave birth to me. Not wanting to be caught and get executed, she hid the pregnancy from everyone except her cousin, who was also her childhood best friend. She gave birth to me outside of the kingdom in a small village not too far away. This same village would be where me and my father lived and where I grew up. My mother, she would sneak away from the kingdom to visit us every few months. You know, she would try her best to sneak away. This went on for 23 years. Her sneaking away every few months to come visit me and my father. My mother, she eventually became queen when my grandfather passed away. Being 23 years old and my mother being crowned the new queen, I thought I would be welcomed into the kingdom and take my rightful place as the prince. My mother agreed, and she was planning to inform the kingdom of her only heir to the throne. She was strongly advised to not do so by her best friend, who's her cousin, and her close members of her council. My mother, she didn't take their advice, and she planned a big celebratory dinner where she would tell everyone in town, and they were going to have a huge feast and celebrate. Now, the feast is started. Everything was going great. It seemed like it was going to be one of the best feasts the kingdom has seen in years, until my mom made the announcement that she has a son, and she introduced me, Rain, to the masses. Everyone could tell I was half elf, half human. Chaos erupted. The nobles of the high houses of the kingdom started shouting at my queen, started shouting at my mother, using different racial slurs, calling me half-breed, calling me just completely different things, and saying that a prince can't be mixed and I will never be able to rule as king. Different onlookers that were in the crowd, they started throwing food at the guards, they were throwing food at me, they were throwing food at my mom, the queen. But my mom, being full of grace and strength, she didn't run away, but instead she tried to quiet everyone down so she could speak. As she was sitting there trying to calm the crowd down, trying to calm everyone down so she could speak, you could hear someone yell, "Watch out, he has a bow." And as soon as you heard the person shouting, I felt a gust of wind zoom past my cheek. When I turned my head to see where the arrow went, I looked back and I saw an arrow protruding from my mom's chest. I froze in shock. Cries and screams were all I heard as I was yanked by my mother's cousin, who's also her best friend, and was being rushed out of the grand hall. She was yelling for me to keep up, and she was saying she has to get me out of the city ASAP, as soon as possible. She told me half-breeds cannot rule over full-bred elves, and that the higher bloodline that you have to the monarchy, that basically shows your status in the kingdom. And since I'm a mixed breed, I'm a half-breed, I'm basically lower than the lowest elf. She rushed me to a horse, ready with the cart attached. She advised me to never come back. She advised me to forget about my bloodline, forget about being a king, forget about being a prince, and just live out my days as a regular half-elf and just live with the regular humans. She said her brother will be next in line to become king, and he will get things back to normal and back in order. As the cart raced off into the night, my eyes full of tears and my heart full of grief, I noticed we were headed in the directions toward the town that I lived. I wondered how the guard taking me knew where to go. I didn't give him any directions. So I didn't say anything though. I just waited to see if he was going to take a wrong turn or just stop and drop me off anywhere, you know. But he kept going as if he knew exactly where me and my father lived. My intuition, it told me to run away. My intuition told me to leave right now, that this might be my only chance. So, listening to my inner voice, I slowly crept out of the cart and crept to an alley not too far away from where the cart was going. I slowly started to follow the cart and the guard to see where he was going to take me. I just wanted to see, like, okay, what was this guy planning? 10 minutes later, we arrived at my house, the exact location of my house. I knew something was off. I knew it, because how would this guard know where I lived? And also, it was at night. It was around midnight. And there was a candle lit through the window. I could see the light through the window, and I knew that something was off because my father, who also lived there with me, he never left candles lit that late at night, at midnight. He would be asleep. So as I was thinking this, I saw the guard step out of the saddle, unsheath his sword, and start to walk toward the back of the cart where I was. The guard looked as if he was ready to attack. I was confused. Why would the guard look like he was ready to attack? I didn't understand how the guard knew where I lived, and I didn't even tell him where. I saw two other guards come out of the front of my home, blood on their armor with their swords in hands, fresh blood on them, and evil grins. All of a sudden, it all clicked. I then understood how they knew where I lived. I understood why the guard taking me here had his sword drawn and was ready for me at the back of the cart. Today was not only my mother's execution, it was supposed to be mine as well. This whole thing was planned. Someone planned to kill my mother when she revealed who I was. Someone planned to kill me too. But my mother only informed a few people about my existence, and that was nearly a few days ago when she told the elders of the council, her close council, and her cousin. Those are the only people that knew. So, I was hit with a revelation. My mother's cousin knew about me from when my mother was pregnant. My mother's cousin could have easily followed her here one time over the past 23 years to just see where I lived, to see where I grew up. And then she just could plan to have me killed because she knew her brother was next in line to be king. As I was thinking this in my mind, I saw the guard take the tarp off the cart and get ready to strike. He stood there confused. He gestured to the other guards, and I could hear them start to argue about losing the half-breed and having to find and kill me tonight. I heard this and ran away as far and as fast as I could. I haven't been back ever since. That was 2 years ago. My character now is 25 years old, and somehow I have to prove that my mother was killed by her cousin and I am the rightful heir to the kingdom. A half-breed elf, half human. Somehow I need to take my rightful place on the throne.